Welcome back to Truth or Recon. I'm Agent D. Baker, a retired narcotics detective, SWAT team member, and U.S. Navy combat veteran of OEF and OIF. With years of real-world experience in high-stakes environments, I have seen firsthand the dangers that lurk both in our communities and now increasingly online. These conversations can get raw, they can get heavy, and sometimes they may not be suitable for children, so consider this your disclaimer. But if you care about truth, justice, and accountability, then you're in the right. What's up, everybody? Apologize for the delay. Hope everybody's having a good, whatever day it is, Wednesday. Good Wednesday evening. Easy Girl's mama. Katie. Can everybody hear me and see me good? Hey, Rhonda. Nancy. No, Gene, you're not late. I am. So. Hey, Brooke. Let's see. I just realized I'm missing a chat here. There it is. So, if you have not watched the short video I put out today on Mr. Nanos, Chris Nanos, which is the sheriff of, he's the sheriff of Pima County there in Arizona, where Nancy lives. I knew that earlier this week when, or actually it may have been, was it Monday maybe? I can't remember. Anyway, sometime in the last 4 days, when he made a statement, put out a statement claiming that, and I'll pull that up in just a second. Hey, Lee. Made a statement stating that Nancy's family, as far as her siblings, children, and children's spouses had all been cleared. And which was extremely weird for a lot of reasons. But one, because he had less than 24 hours before that, and I'll play that video in a minute, had stated nobody was cleared. So it raised a lot of red flags for me, because it was like, how the hell do you go from less than 24 hours ago stating no one is cleared, and all of a sudden you clear a whole group of people? It doesn't happen like that. Also, the only way you could clear an entire group of people is if you know exactly who did it. We're pretty sure they don't know exactly who did it. And today I was able to verify my suspicion that he just went out on his own and made that idiotic statement. And that did not come from the FBI at all. He did not discuss any of that with the FBI. And the FBI has not cleared anyone, including any of Nancy's family. I don't know what we're going to do with this guy. I mean, he is, what do you kids say these days, off the chain? Or is that what old people say now? I don't know. So, this is the statement. It says, statement from Sheriff Chris Nanos on the Nancy Guthrie investigation. To be clear, the Guthrie family, to include all siblings and spouses, has been cleared as possible suspects in this case. The family has been nothing but cooperative and gracious and are victims in this case. To suggest otherwise is not only wrong, it is cruel. The Guthrie family are victims, plain and simple. Please, I'm begging you, the media, to honor your profession and report with some sense of compassion and professionalism. What I have to say to Sheriff Nanos is, why don't you honor your professionalism, your profession, and do your job with some professionalism? Because that is the last thing you're doing. There's no way he has ever been to any type of PR class. I would be surprised if he knows what PR is if you ask him. He has made this case a complete disaster so far, and he keeps making it worse. So he made that statement, and less than 24 hours before that, he made this one.
Have you been able? Have you been able to clear any of the Guthrie family members?
Well, I put it like this. Everybody, particularly the Guthrie family, but everybody has been very cooperative with us. There's
Not what she asked him.
We've done a number of interviews and investigations and taken DNA swabs from a number of different people. They've all cooperated with us. I'm going to say this real careful. They are under tremendous pressure and tremendous grief. And I think it's really irresponsible for anyone to start pointing fingers that way. They have been nothing but cooperative with us.
But I think cooperative and cleared are two different things.
I know, but the evidence will take us there if that's the case. Right now, we are working close with that family, and yeah, our hearts go out to them.
So they are not cleared as of now.
Nobody's cleared.
Nobody's cleared. Okay.
That was less than 24 hours before he put out the statement that we just read. I have no idea what to think. But again, I knew, I was like, this is not right. And everybody kept saying, and a lot of people still are, oh, they have cleared her family. And what did I keep saying? No, they haven't. Sheriff Nanos has. And that man does not need to be clearing anyone because he does not know what the hell he's doing. He's completely clueless. And again, I have no idea how this guy ever won an election with the way he speaks. I'm going to say this with, I probably shouldn't say this, but I think I have to. And I'm going to say this with all due respect, because I know there are some amazing, great people that live in Pima County, Arizona. But what in the hell was wrong with y'all when y'all voted this guy in ever? Someone explain that to me. Because, again, he is the worst spokesman for a politician I've ever seen. He does not know how to speak. He immediately comes across as unlikable. And now we see, obviously, he doesn't have a clue how to be a sheriff and how to run an agency. I've never seen anything like it. And every sheriff in this country should be pissed at him right now because he's making them all look bad. Now, I know they're all not that bad. But a lot of people are looking at him because he is the sheriff of a very large agency of a very large county in this country. And they're thinking, my God, what is wrong with our sheriffs? Between him and the North Carolina sheriff, the clip that I showed y'all last week of the guy that did not even know the 3 branches of government, and he's the sheriff of whatever county Charlotte is in, another huge county and huge agency, did not even know what the 3 branches of government was and thought he worked in the judicial branch. I don't understand it. Like, what the hell goes through your mind when you're voting for these people for sheriff? That is one of the most important positions in your county. That is the head law enforcement officer in your county. I just don't get it. He has a reality show. I'll be honest with you. I'll watch it because it would be one hell of a shit show. It would it'd have to be that train wreck that you just can't take your eyes off of. Is that true? Does he really have his reality show? He's not Sheriff Hollywood because, again, he's not good in front of the camera in any way whatsoever. Is this show out? There's 3 episodes. Desert Law. Well, I know what I'll be doing tomorrow. Jesus. I mean, he has become the laughing stock of law enforcement. 100%. The sheriff in North Carolina should send him a big gift, because if it wasn't for how ignorant he is being right now, that sheriff would be getting a lot more attention that he doesn't want. He did a 5-series show. Jesus. I got another clip here. Pull it up of him. And let me ask you all this. There's about 280 people on here right now between all the platforms. Has any of you seen what I put out today anywhere else that the FBI has not cleared the family and that the family is not cleared? Because I haven't, and I don't know why I haven't. I can't be the only one to have found that out. He needs to change careers. That man's not fit for any kind of career. Teresa said, I thought they were cleared. Well, yeah, Sheriff Nanos said they was. The problem is the FBI has not cleared them. He did not speak with the FBI before he put that statement out. And they are definitely not cleared through the FBI. That I know is 100% sure, true. I think someone just mentioned this. Interview that he did with Brian Enton. So we're going to pull it up and check it out. And this was yesterday, I believe.
Today was Sheriff Nanos posting a statement basically ruling out, clearing the Guthrie family from any involvement, ruling out the Guthrie siblings, their spouses from being suspects in this case, despite even saying in an interview, not even 24 hours before, that no one was being ruled out. So I asked him about that, and here's what he told me. Listen here.
Cops, good cops, protect their victims. And this family has been victimized and re-victimized. And I'm not going to sit still for that. It's not going to happen. My job is to keep them safe and protect them.
He is not going to stood for that. Make sure you caught that.
So clear and simple. They are not suspects. They are victims. They have been through the ringer.
Yeah, so I pressed him a little bit about that, Greg, if it was just basically to counter the conjecture and the speculation, or if they actually had DNA evidence. And he said, you know, he wasn't going to, they don't have to explain everything to the media and put everything out there in the public. Look, he as you know, because you've been following this.
They don't have to explain everything and put everything out to the media. The only things he's putting out to the media are idiotic and false things. Literally.
Case. He's taken a lot of flack in the 17 days of this investigation for his handling of the.
Yes, he has taken a lot of flack, and it's very well deserved. And he needs to take a lot more. Is it true that he has never visited Nancy's house? I guarantee you it's true, because if he had, media would have caught that on camera because they've been there nonstop, and I haven't seen it. So I guarantee you he hasn't. And I'll tell you, reading his body language in that interview with Brian when he's sitting down, he is in fighting mode. You could tell he is mad at him. You saw him pointing his fingers. I mean, his eyebrows going up and down. He's mad at him, like legit mad. I did see where Savannah was upset with the sheriff's press release. Oh, I've not seen that. Where did you see that? If you don't mind. Do I think he's trying to mislead? No. Because this was not ran by the FBI at all. He's doing this on his own. I know that 100%. 100% verifiable. That's a good point. He won't do a statement, but has time for 10-minute interviews with 10 different outlets. The sheriff told Brian he's upset with the way he's reporting. He's the only one reporting it good. He's the only one on the ground actually doing good reporting, in my opinion, right now. And I haven't heard him state any opinions. He's just telling what's going on. So, yeah, I mean, I guess you're right that he's upset that facts are getting out. Yeah, we went over that. I played that interview the other night. Wag, I think is her name. January 24, the union held or January 20. Was it in 2024 they did the vote? I thought it was more recent than that, but maybe. The union held a vote of no confidence against him, and He had 1 vote. Yes. Out of, I think there was like 300 union representatives there, and every single one of them voted no, except for 1. Did I see your message on the robbery at the gym place? Yeah, but I can't find any correlation there. I don't. I mean, at this point, I don't see anything that lines up with this. Oh, and also, we discussed. A lot of people brought up the Luke and hold on, I already forgot her name. Kayla. I dug and dug and dug. Kayla is not kin to Nancy Guthrie. And I can't remember who it was, but there was someone on here that was saying that night that they had confirmed that. I don't know how they did. Yeah, I'll hold on. I'll put a whole table together. Let me see. Let me pull that up. It's not letting me pull my whole table up. Here, let me read it. Yeah, Sergeant Cross, which was the union rep for them, for the Pima County Sheriff's Office, he was the one that did the interview with Brian the other night, said all but 1 voted no confidence. I made this whole graph and now it's not letting me pull it up. All right. Anyway. And 40, this is a large department. This is a very large agency. I think it's around 600 sworn and close to 2,000 employees in all. And if I was understanding correctly, 45% of the entire sworn deputies with that agency have less than 5 years on. That means almost 50% of that agency has left since he's been sheriff. That is staggering numbers for that. That is a turnover. That is crazy, that kind of turnover for anywhere. Tammy, the FBI does do updates. The FBI can't do press releases and updates in this one because they're not the lead agency on it, because Mr. Sheriff won't allow them to. Yeah. So as far as the Luke and Kayla, obviously we don't know what involvement they believe Luke has in this as of yet. Obviously there's something there because they got probable cause for a search warrant for his house and his vehicle, and impounded his vehicle. So, but we don't know what that connection is yet. But as far as Kayla being the niece of Nancy, I've dug everywhere. I cannot find that to be true. Keith, you mean who is the sheriff's boss? The people of the county. He doesn't have a boss. He's elected. Why Megan Kelly's getting backlash? I didn't know she was. What kind of backlash is she getting? What's she getting backlash for? I'm guessing you don't know. That's why you said that. Never mind. Does anyone know? I didn't know that. That was a federal warrant. I do believe that was a federal warrant at Luke's house. Okay, my team sent me this. What you were talking about? Savannah said. Let me get it pulled up. So this is reported by Lizzie Lanuza. Savannah Guthrie reportedly suspicious of sheriff investigating mom's abduction as he gives his first televised interview. She doesn't want this sensationalized. Savannah Guthrie is a household name, but someone who has also become a household name during this investigation into Nancy Guthrie's disappearance is Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos. The sheriff in charge of the investigation has become much more public than someone in his station usually is. This is weird wording. giving frequent updates about the case and now his first televised interview. But how does the Guthrie family feel about that? Reportedly, there are concerns, particularly after reports emerged that suggested Nanos blocked the FBI from assessing DNA evidence. Nanos denied this report. The family, however, is desperate. They feel like time matters. Well, yeah, I would say so. They want every possible resource used immediately, a source told Rob Shutter. Savannah does not want this politicized or sensationalized. She wants her mom found. Previous reports from Shutter himself indicated the family wasn't really happy with the way Nanos was handling the case. He seems more focused on the cameras than the case. If this is him focused on the cameras, Jesus Christ, I'd hate to see when he's not. If it feels like he's putting on a show, almost like he's trying to impress Savannah. He has failed at that. I don't think he's impressed anyone. Reportedly, this ties back to Nanos appearing on multiple TV shows, and reports predate his first big TV interview. That kind of self-promotion during an active investigation is not going over well, a source had said days ago. The family is losing faith in him. A source had also said they want answers, not performances. Again, if this is a performance from him, wow. He is the worst performer on TV. Nanos spoke to NBC's Liz Kritz in a new interview, which aired on the Today Show on Wednesday, February 18th. During the interview, he provided some insight into the investigation, saying, "I think this was an individual who had a target for whatever reason, and he has made it tough. But I've got some pretty tough investigators too." You probably do, but you're not going to let them do their job correctly. He also spoke about Savannah Guthrie in the interview, saying, "I think a lot of that is, you're in everybody's family." I don't understand that statement. Nanos told Kritz. So they look at this and look at Savannah and go, "This is us." Nancy Guthrie went missing. Okay. So, and I don't know how reliable this article is. Never heard of it before. Doesn't mean it's not reliable. I'm not saying that it's not by any means. I've never heard of those people, so take that for what you will. I will just, with us right now, I'll say I trust it. But, I mean, again, I try to be very careful of sources I trust, and I just never heard of them. So, but again, I'm not saying that that's not true, because I mean, if I had to guess, it is. I'm gonna catch up on some comments. Yeah, I mean, I've not watched Megyn Kelly. I don't have anything against her. I've always respected her, so I don't see her doing, like, putting out nonsense. So I'm curious as to why she is getting backlash myself. bear with me. There's a lot of comments. Well, that's awesome, Carol Lee. I appreciate that. I really do. Your numbers keep going up. Why do you say Kelly has been out of control lately? Can't family hire their own investigators? If so, are private hires privy to the info from Ellie? No, not at this stage. It would not be. If it was a completely cold case, then most of the time, yes, law enforcement will share info, but not in this right now. They would not. They wouldn't share info with private investigators. They don't need a private investigator. They need Nanos to step aside and let the FBI do their job. That's the problem here. Sheba said, are you able to go from the beginning of what you know and what you know to be true that you've researched, kind of recap everything to allow us to erase the things? I sure will in a minute. I sure will. I agree, Eric. Eric said, I am impressed on how incompetent Nanos is. Megyn Kelly made a racist comment. I've not heard that, nor do I believe that. Did she really make a racist comment, or did she say something you didn't like, and so she's automatically racist like most people now? That may be the only thing I agree with him on. Someone said independent YouTubers were saying that Nanos told them if SWAT responds and they follow, he will arrest them. That may be the only thing I agree with him on. Now, if they want to... Now, I'll tell you this. That's Nanos' fault. Now that I think about it, actually. When you have an operation like that and you know media is going to be coming, again, he doesn't understand. He does not know how to manage law enforcement. He does not know how to manage a scene. And that's prime examples. Because when you have something like that, it should be pre-planned. A media staging area should be pre-planned, and that's where you tell the media they can go. But he's not doing any of that. So they're just having free reign. That is on him. But yeah, they do not need to be following them down the road to where they're going. I agree with that. But again, it's on him because it's operations planning, not even 101, like 89. I mean, again, he does not know how to do any of this, which is crazy to me. Gloria, yes, that is true, but I do not know the details. I've not dug into that yet, but we will this week. I will before the week's over with. FBI needs to investigate Nanos. That's why he does not like the FBI. But they literally did investigate him, and that's why. And they, I believe, they jailed one of his former chief deputies or charged them. But that's really why he doesn't like them. I mean, I don't. The media shouldn't stay at the police station. That causes a whole commotion in itself. Again, he has to. It's operations planning. I mean, I could go find any sheriff right now, and they're going to, hopefully, most. There's going to be some that are just as dumb as this guy, but most of them are going to, know this stuff like the back of their hand because they've done it so many times, and they don't even have to think about it. And at an agency this size, he shouldn't have to do anything. I would hope, as he should have one of his chief deputies running that stuff. And they're responsible for setting up scene command, incident command, and again, where there's medical staging, press staging. It's very simple stuff if you've done it. But he hasn't done any of that. Jonathan Doe used to live in front of Josh DeFore, and I don't know what the other name you are. Are you talking about in the apartments when we were in college? I'm guessing your name's not Jonathan Doe, or maybe it is. I don't remember your name, but glad you're on here. If you were sheriff in control, would you block off Nancy Street to everyone but residents and vital services? Why are they staging in front of their house? If I was sheriff in control, this would have been turned over to the FBI on day one. And I would stand back and go speak to the media every other day. After briefing with the FBI daily, if not hourly, and seeing what they wanted me to put out. That would literally be the only thing I'd have to do. Oh yeah, University Downs. Oh yeah, it was good times. Good times back then. Probably shouldn't share any of my stories from college on here. Sheriff seems to like the limelight. And I'm figuring that out now. And yeah, that's definitely part of the problem. The problem is I don't think the limelight likes him. And for things to work out, those have to go hand in hand. The FBI is not going to have a news conference because again, he won't just turn the case over to them. And here's the thing. Could they just take over it? Parts of it, yes, they could. But then he could refuse to cooperate, fully refuse to cooperate with them, meaning hold evidence back. And the FBI doesn't want that because they want what is best for Nancy right now. And they know that that would be even more detrimental to the case. So they're doing everything they can. But I'm telling you, he is impeding this investigation. And if it wasn't for him, this investigation would be way further along than it is. I took 7 people one night playing 7 card stuff. Hey, I was a card player. I won a lot of money in college. I guess maybe I could read people then, didn't even realize it. I did. I won a lot of tournaments. No, yeah, the sheriff's reputation is gone. I mean, obviously, he did not. He didn't have a good reputation before. He just wasn't as well known, and now everybody sees it, and he's. I mean, do I feel like he's covering something up, or just in over his head? No, I don't think he's covering something up. He is definitely in over his head, but he literally, like has been said, he cares more about the cameras than solving this case. He cares more about the cameras. He cares more about, and that's what I've been saying from the beginning. It's been very obvious. He cares more about himself. Or, now let me say this: he only cares about himself. That's the only person he cares about. He does not care about Nancy. He cares about himself, and that's just being proven more and more every day. And again, it's being very detrimental to this case. I'll play this clip again from his. I played it the other night. but for some of you that weren't on then, this is from his previous chief deputy that just retired 2 years ago.
Local law enforcement. Local law enforcement agency, i.e. the Pima County Sheriff's Department, the agency I put in 46 years with, it should have been turned over to the FBI. Now, sadly, I know the personalities of many of the individuals that are high up in that organization. I was actually one of them a couple of years ago, and the egos are voracious in their appetites. So I have seen the current sheriff tell the FBI in a previous investigation, maybe 3-4 years ago, hey, we don't need your help. Um, we got this. And as a matter of fact, if you want to know what a real investigator is like, come check us out. That's ludicrous, and it's egocentric and troubling to me as I sit here today.
So that was Rick Castiger, which was, again, his Nanos's chief deputy just 2 years ago. And if you're not familiar with the chief deputy, the chief deputy is handpicked by the sheriff as his second in command. And so it's going to be their most trusted person there that they have the most confidence in, because it's a very important position. That's what he had to say about him. And you heard him in a case just 4 years ago with the FBI. He told the FBI to get out of town. And you can see, I can see this guy saying this too. No, we don't need your help. And in fact, if you want to learn how to really run a case and investigate, just watch us. And well, we are now. It's not working out well. And unfortunately, there's real lives at stake here. This is a real person that's missing, that's been taken from her home in the middle of the night in the United States of America. Something that should never fucking happen. Excuse my language. It drives me insane when something like that happens in this country. That should never happen to a citizen in this country. And God knows what she went through that night and what she's going through. It's horrible. And now we have this idiot standing in the way of the investigation, trying to locate her, because he cares more about himself than anyone else. God just pisses me off so bad. No, Tawana, that's the problem. People like him, he lives in his, and this is just like another sheriff that I've been covering a lot, Sheriff Nick Smith of Walker County, Alabama. Just alike. Tawana said, I don't understand, as a sheriff, you would think he would want the look. I guess you call it to help solve this case, especially being it's nationwide. Does he not realize he looks like a clown? And no, they don't. They live in their own fantasy world. And they they legit live in their own world. And they believe their own lies. And they truly, this is the scariest part, they truly believe they have never messed up. They truly believe they are perfect and that they know all the right answers every single time. Meaning they don't learn anything new. They're not going to learn anything from anyone. So they have no intelligence. But in their head, they're the smartest person in the world. But no, they don't realize it. I'm telling you, we've seen Nick Smith post things, and my goodness, some of Nick Smith's campaign videos Saturday Night Live couldn't do as good a skits as some of Nick Smith's campaign videos. And I'm not exaggerating. And he doesn't. So everyone else is laughing. Everyone else is watching these videos and laughing. And Nick Smith sitting there thinking, this is great. And this is an awesome campaign video. It's crazy. Wonder if the case 4 years ago was solved without the FBI. I don't know, but I would guess not. Or probably not correctly. Can you pull up Megyn Kelly video from today titled "Breaking News About Strange Google Search"? Oh God, tell me she's not. Now I'm going to lose faith in her if she's talking about those Google searches that we were talking about the other day. I already debunked that. I mean, a bunch of other people did too. Choose your heroes carefully. Review MK 121225. Are you talking some kind of code? Interview with Unger Sorgen on JE. Okay, I think I may know who you're talking about, JE, if you're talking about Epstein. MK, okay. Megyn Kelly. Okay, I've got it deciphered other than NN. But I will watch that at some point. Oh, what Amber uncovered? I don't want to confuse people. I'm about to talk very quickly, speak about a completely unrelated case that occurred in Walker County, Alabama. Because someone brought it up. What Amber uncovered in the newest. So they're talking about Amber sitting with Secrets True Crime podcast, which is a good friend of mine. Amazing investigative journalist, amazing, and podcaster. And yeah, she just broke a story out of there that's horrible. And we're going to be on that one very soon. And Long story short, they caught in Walker County, Alabama, they caught a woman, a mother, that was literally trafficking her daughter, her 12-year-old daughter. Caught in the act with a grown man. The mother set it up. That's human trafficking. In the same hotel, the next room over, that adult male's friend, who was also an adult male, was with a 14-year-old. The police caught them all in the act. The mother ended up with nothing. She was originally charged, and her bond set at $100,000 cash bond. And some redneck out of Winston County, Alabama, and I'm not downing Winston County, Alabama people, I'm just talking about this particular person, showed up with $100,000 cash and bonded her out. And shockingly, just days after that, the judge completely dropped her case altogether after trafficking her daughter and caught in the act. The two men, nothing. They let them plead down to obstructing governmental operations, which is a misdemeanor. Guess who the two girls are? This was 2 to 3 years ago. So they're still underage. Still in the same places. Yeah, I'll be doing I'm going to ask Amber first. I need to speak with her first. But anyway, yeah, we're going to be talking a lot about that soon. It's horrible. And I also think it's something my good friend, am I allowed to call him my good friend since I just went on his podcast? Does that make us good friends? Chris Hansen, because I think he'll be interested in that too. I think so. It's sick. But if you're not following or familiar with Secrets True Crime Podcast, you can find their podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and then you can also find. You should go to her Facebook page and follow her Facebook, and it's Secrets True Crime Podcast. That's the Facebook page too. Puts out amazing stuff, and she did a very long form podcast about some missing persons and unsolved homicides that are just unbelievably reported. I mean, she's great. So if you're not following her and have listened to her podcast, they're unbelievable. One of the best I've ever heard. Do I happen to know if meth was the rug of choice? Oh, yes, I'm sure it was. Not verified that, but I can promise you it was. I know the drug world way too well. They pinned it. It's Katie pinned Secrets True Crime Podcast. All right, let's pull up this Megyn Kelly thing. I'm curious to see what this about the Google searches because it looks like it's different than what I was talking about, which makes me feel a lot better. I was hoping she didn't jump on that. Well, I don't need to say it yet. I may still be wrong. Which message did you send them to? Okay, I got it. Okay. So I don't hold on.
Trump is putting the Robert E. Lee name back on buildings. I mean, are you down with that?
So when I was at West Point, I actually lived in Robert E. Lee barracks when I was there. And as I said,
Robert E. Lee went to West Point.
Yes, he did.
That must not. I don't. That's not the one. Hold on. Here, let me just do this the way I should have. I'm trying to overcomplicate things. There we go.
About additional cameras at Nancy's. Now, keep in mind, Ashley Banfield reported that there was a Nest cam in the front, that we already know, and that there was one in the back too, and that both of the Nest cams at Nancy's were taken. And the sheriff has never confirmed anything about the back door. He has never, he has said, we don't have the Nest cameras. So like whatever number there were, they were taken. And he won't confirm forced entry. He won't say whether the perp got in through the front door or the back door. But Brian did ask him about additional cameras in SOP 56. Take a listen.
I know that you and the FBI were able to get those surveillance photos off the camera in the front of the house.
Yeah.
Any progress on the other cameras? Can you do the same thing?
Boy, I'm hopeful. So,
I apologize. That's not the right one either. I saw the hit. I guess I clicked on the...
Guys,
Hold
listen
on.
to this. As we're discussing...
Talking about someone not being good at their profession. I'm not doing too well right now. There it is. Yeah,
Guys,
I just
listen to
clicked on the
this.
wrong one.
As we're discussing the possibility, the sheriff's statement of targeted kidnapping and the possibility that somebody understanding... I mean, it could have just been about Nancy Guthrie, but the odds are it had something to do with the rich daughter. I mean, I think that's probably the smarter bet. Fox News reporting, this is the headline, internet user, they don't know who, searched for Nancy Guthrie's address and daughter's salary before Today host's mother vanished. This is literally breaking after the discussion we just had. It's crazy. I don't know how you can tell this. Fox News is citing Google Trends. An internet user appears to have searched for Nancy Guthrie's home address in the weeks prior to her suspected abduction, Google Trends shows. Last week, the FBI released a description of the individual seen. They're talking about the guy, 5'9", 5'10", with the Ozark Trail hiker backpack. Other identifying items. Hold on, read more.
So people keep asking us, where do you film your podcast? We shoot everything inside Riverside. I record our...
Fox News Digital has learned that mysterious Google searches for Nancy's address and Savannah's salary occurred before her disappearance. Google Trends records show there was one search for Guthrie's address in the Catalina foothills between June 21st and June 28th, 2025 by someone in Arizona. They can tell you exactly where the search came from. The address was searched again once on January 11th, 2026. That's one of the dates that the sheriff's office is asking people to check their Ring cameras for.
Well, that is interesting.
The January 11th date also surfaced in a message on the Ring camera app. Yeah, he's this guy's in my head. Let's see. A Pima County Sheriff's Department captain replied to the post asking users to look for the verified post. Okay, The man questioned. Hold on, sorry, I'm reading live. Where's the part about him searching
pre-offense behavior? We talked about this week.
Yep. Yeah.
Wait, stand by. My crack producers texted it to me. They can read faster than I can. There were two separate. Which one is it, Debbie? Is it which text? You have three from you here. There were also two separate Google image searches for Nancy's address in Arizona. One, again, sometime between March 1st and 8th, 2025. Oh, Google image searches, guys. Google image searches, in addition to like just typing in the Google search bar. Okay, also two separate Google image searches for Nancy's address in Arizona. One was sometime between March 1st and 8th, 2025. The other was between November 30th and December 1st, 2025, specifically looking for images or a map of the home. In addition to the address, in the days leading up to Nancy's disappearance, quote, Savannah Guthrie's salary was searched from Tucson sometime between December 13th and 20th. For comparison, CNN anchor Anderson Cooper, who grew up in New York City, generated one search for Anderson Cooper's salary in the New York City area between March 29th and April 5th, Fox News' Sean Hannity also grew up in New York, and Sean Hannity's salary was searched once between May 3rd and 10th, 2025. Whoa. What do you make of this?
Yeah, we've been talking about this since the beginning. Victimology, about our victim, all the family members, friends of family members, but then going to the offender himself. What were they doing in the weeks, if not months?
I'll say this so far. That is not a coincidence. I don't see how they'd be able to tell that it was the same person. I don't see how that's possible. But even though, if they have someone in Tucson, Google searching her salary that close up to Nancy being taken, and then also have Google searches in Tucson of Nancy's address around the same time. Wow. That's all right. Let's finish
Beforehand. One of them is obsessive, internet interest and usage, and who's looking up the parties here involved in this particular case. And of course, that includes starting to buy materials, backpacks, ropes, all these things, the Uncle Mike holster, whatever's in there. But it's no surprise to me at all, as we said earlier, and my partner and I are going to put out on our Cold Red podcast later today, the full profile of this person. The pre-offense behavior includes this type of activity. And if anyone knows the person, and their computer has those images locked in there somehow, or a search history, that's a person we're going to talk to, and the tip line should be called.
Yes. What do you think, Will?
Well, I think this is an absolute treasure trove. I mean, as Fitz said, this is the advanced reconnaissance. This is the research that's done in advance on a potential prospect. So I think there's going to be some reverse engineering against the IP address, which Google no doubt will be able to attribute to those searches, to actually see any other history, any other IP-associated data searches that have been undertaken throughout this period from 2025 right up until obviously the date of the incident itself. So yeah, this is a very useful bit of a lead that can be now hunted through, and with Google's assistance, that they could be obviously warranted or subpoenaed to assist them on this. And ultimately, this is the sort of thing that Google would love to, no doubt, to be able to assist them with.
I mean, so you've got, I'm just trying to go through the timeline here. So you've got November 30, between November 30th and December 1st, someone searched for an image of Nancy's home. On January 11th, someone searched for Nancy's address and had also searched on June 21st, between the 21st and the 28th. So in the summer of 25, they searched for Nancy's address. Then again, 2 weeks before the kidnapping. On March 1st and 8th, between March 1st and 8th, they searched for images of Nancy's home. And then again on November 30th and December 1st. Again, now we're coming up to within 2 months of the kidnapping.
Yeah.
And then on December 13th, between December 13th and December 20th, somebody searched for Savannah's salary. Now, I will say this, as a news person, they often search for your salary.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I've seen that because there's all sorts of speculation online about what my salary is, what all news persons' salaries are. By the way, they're like incredibly off, like so off every time. They never get it. There's a whole video on YouTube about my lavish lifestyle. I'm like, oh, let's see. What do they have? Like, literally nothing in there is mine. Not the house, not the car, like nothing. I'm like, okay. It's all fake. But
It's good they're getting them wrong. It's good they're getting it wrong.
Yes.
It's very good. Yeah. But it's so weird. Like, things are made up. So, but I'm just saying it may not be as exciting as we think that they search for Savannah's salary, because they do that when you're a public figure. But it's just it's very eerie to see they searched for that. And within 2 weeks of that, they were searching for images of Nancy's home. And within 3 weeks of that, they were searching for Nancy's address. Now, we don't know if it's the same person.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask
But if these searches come back to the same person, Maureen,
Yeah.
Wow.
I think if they can actually join the dots together, and if it can be attributed to the same IP address for those searches, albeit in those different periods, that falls into what we'd call a traditional planning cycle or attack planning cycle. So, there will be the selection of the potential prospect to kidnap, if it was indeed a kidnap. They would then revisit, they'd look at that site again, see if there was any changes, see if there was any alterations. Certainly if that, but I wouldn't have discounted, which is why all these Ring and Nest cameras of neighbors is going to be so essential.
All right. I think that's the gist of it. That is very interesting, for sure. Now, again, just one of those searches by itself, I wouldn't think too much into it. But putting them all together in that close of a time frame up to her being taken is very interesting, for sure. The other thing, when they have an actual suspect, then they will be able to, search that specific IP address, or if they can get the IP address for whoever searched these things. You just have to have warrants, but be easy to get in the case like this. And so then they can compare them. That's a pretty good lead. Again, I wouldn't put much on just searching her salary. That could have been random, but the searching Nancy's address and pictures of her residence that close up to her being taken is very, very interesting. Ashley said, "Geez, the random stuff I Googled during the day." I do too. I randomly want to know how much the lunches on TV make, especially when they yell at our president. I think you're trying. Okay, I think I was going to say. I agree. Life's a journey. And as I said, I would bet everything that if the FBI were able to just run this entire investigation and Nanos would just step back, it would be way further along. Because again, no, I do not believe this was done. Or let me say this: the person on that front porch, not a professional criminal. And with the DNA not being in CODIS, that proves that, for sure. No, they're very young. The investigators, and we heard that from the Sergeant Ross, or Cross, I think, from Pima County, talk about don't quote me on the exact numbers, but 90-something investigators in all there in that agency, and close to 50 of them were brand new investigators with hardly any experience. And experience is everything in an investigator. Like the things from, like when I go back to my first year investigating, wow, it was not good. I had great supervisors and great partners that taught me, so much. But the mistakes I made and the things I didn't understand. To year 5, oh my goodness, night and day. I mean, night and day difference. I mean, my first year, you couldn't have sent me to the library and me figure out how many library books they have without screwing up, probably. I mean, it was, again, experience is everything in investigations. Speaking of, Bella, how many years of investigations do you have? You have 22 years of investigations, and you say this is not somebody's first crime? The person on the front porch, at least? Can you tell me what from that video of the guy on the porch makes you think it's not his first crime? Serious, legit question. Okay, we may be on the same page, Bella. Yeah, I don't think he's the main guy. I was strictly talking about the front porch guy. And that's who presumably's DNA that they possibly have. And again, it's not in CODIS, which does not mean they're not going to find it and figure it out. Just means he's not a felon. Now, I'll say this and feel very confident in it. If whoever is running that show is the same group that sent the first ransom email to TMZ, then yes, I would say they're not experienced. They're not any experienced either. And if this really, well, I'll say this for sure. If this really was a planned kidnapping for ransom, then no, this was their first time. Because they don't understand anything. And so, no, I don't think they've committed any serious crimes before ever. And I feel very confident in that. What do you mean by you thought the front porch guy was a distraction? Why do you keep getting kicked off, Amanda? Well, in a crime, life's a journey. In a crime that you're trying to stay quiet and hidden, I see why you're thinking that. However, I don't see any that would not make sense to me. No, I don't think it's a one-man job. No. I think, and this is pure speculation, obviously at this point, as far as the front porch guy, I believe either he was under the impression the front door was going to be unlocked and he was just going to walk right in. Or someone inside was supposed to let him in through the front door, or he was going to recon the front door area because that's where they were planning on taking her out through. I think it would be one of those three things. Would be my three best guesses by far. If you watch my video, Z Girl's Mama, where I slow it down and walk through it, he knew the camera was there, in my opinion. Again, I feel pretty confident in that. Because he was he was looking completely down, and then he shined that light right on where the step was coming up, right on it. So he shined it just for a second. Okay, that is where the step is. He stepped up. He kept his head completely down, and then he started looking off to his left like this. It was very awkward. And then as he's turning around, his right hand goes up at the exact same time and covers the camera. So I think he knew the camera was there. And somebody said the other night, and I think it's a good possibility that maybe he just thought pulling that camera off was going to be easier. And then it just wasn't just popping right off. And so then he, again, not experienced, not well planned out and thought through, he was trying to come up with something to cover it up. And then the shrubbery didn't work. And so then he just yanked it, figured out a way to get it off. ATV, no. ATV would be too loud. You're not going to do that on an ATV. A car. When you first arrive, all right, if you're going there to commit a crime of any kind, you're not going to park right in front of the house. No matter how inexperienced you are, that's just a very common sense thing of, well, I'm not going to pull right in front of the house. So they could have parked a house down or just 40 yards down. Got out or had a driver drop them off, which is more likely. It's what burglars do. And burglars and vehicle burglars most of the time have someone drop them off in a neighborhood, and then they'll hit a car or whatever, and then their car will come back through and they jump in it. So more than likely that's what happened. And so when they're first there, and when he is first up on the porch, obviously the camera's still up, but then it gets removed. He removes it and disconnects it. So after that, once they were getting her out of the house, they could have pulled the car right up. or very, very close. Threw her in there and been gone. And no cameras picked up the car. So from what I understand, most of the houses in that neighborhood, and we don't know that no cameras picked up the car. I'm hoping that's some of the leads they're going off of. But from what I understand, most of the houses in that neighborhood all sit off the road a little bit. So it is harder for their cameras to see the actual road. But no doubt in my mind, they were in a vehicle. I mean, you can't remove. I mean, that's the only way they are going to move a woman. I mean, especially an 84-year-old that is not that mobile. They're not going to actually carry her far at all. They're going to want to carry her as the least amount as possible. Yes, Lisa, I'm sorry. Team, y'all remind me to do better at this to announce. I'm on 3 different platforms at the same time, so I have 3 different chats. I'm on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. Or maybe he told the guys inside about the light. Are you talking about the camera? The Nest camera? No, so we know that Nest camera was removed right after that. Because that's the only way they were able to pull that footage. Bacchus, BKAS. Did you email me that? If you did, I did. I have. I reviewed all the things that everyone sent me in the email. I'm sorry. Yeah, no. And almost every night someone gets confused, and I keep on saying I'm going to let everybody know. And then I need to put that, that's what I need to do. I'm going to have that on the screen the whole time somewhere for the next time. That's what I need to do. Could have put her in the desert. I mean, not close to her house, no, because they would have found her. They had dogs and stuff out there. They had cadaver dogs out there. And if she was anywhere close, if she was not alive and anywhere close to that house, the dogs would have found her. Oh, thank you, Gabby. Yeah, I won't do that. I'll make it a little coded. But I do appreciate that advice. Well, we know that, Brittany, there's definitely a possibility that someone was in the house the whole time, waiting on her to get back and stuff. That is definitely possible. That camera was not removed until 1:48 a.m. is when that camera was removed and disconnected. Animals wouldn't have gotten to her. I mean, they're not just going to just drop her right there in the desert. I mean, if they would have done that, they would have buried her somehow. But I don't think that's what happened. No, they took her, they removed her from that location. Again, I don't think they went far, but I could be wrong. Again, somebody asked me about Mexico the other night, and I said, you know what? At this point, I don't know. I mean, nothing would surprise me. And then today we find out that the FBI is looking at some possible leads right across the border. So again, at this point, as far as her location, no clue. I mean, nothing would surprise me. Well, see, bringing her out the front door makes complete sense if they're taking her, because again, that's a lot less area to travel on foot to the vehicle. So just if they took her out the back, it's a lot longer. It's like if you're, when you're moving and you're carrying a couch. If you can go through the front door, it's a lot easier than having to go all the way around the back of the house where a car won't pull. The condition of the inside of the house, we were told in the very beginning that nothing appeared to be disturbed inside the house and nothing appeared to be missing. Now, that possibly came from Sheriff Nanos, so who knows if that's really true now. I mean, honestly, we don't know. But Bacchus, that's, again, the DNA they located is not him then. And again, I don't think this was a career. We're not looking at someone that's committed a bunch of crime, especially, we're not looking at someone, we are definitely not looking at someone connected to organized crime. No way. Again, like I've said about, this is narc cartel. Nothing about this screams cartel. Nothing. No way the cartel was involved in this. No type of organized crime. You think it's possible that when she got home and went in through the garage, one of them slipped in behind her? That's definitely possible. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't doubt if this was planned out, this was planned out somehow, for sure. Again, just not the greatest plan. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't doubt that. Should they have had Mexico searching? And no. Again, in the very beginning, it would not make sense. Nobody would have thought that she'd been in Mexico at the very beginning. No. So over an hour away drive with the kidnapped person that, now, again, understand, I'm not saying that didn't happen now because we realize how these people don't really know what they're doing. I'm saying at the beginning, though, this would have appeared to be a professional, and a professional is not going to take a kidnapped person that distance. they're going to have somewhere close to hold her. So that's all a hindsight 2020 now as far as that. Because now, again, like I mean, who knows? She made it home. She definitely made it home because we know her iPhone arrived at her house shortly before 10 o'clock. And we know she was within Bluetooth distance of her iPhone because her pacemaker was hooked up to it. And we know her iPhone was in her house and attached, and her pacemaker was attached via Bluetooth to her iPhone until 2:28 a.m. And at 2:28 a.m., her pacemaker got out of range of the Bluetooth, and her iPhone was still at the house. In my opinion, do I think it will be solved soon? I do. Now, it depends on what your definition of soon is. I mean, I hope it's solved tonight, obviously, tomorrow. I don't have a lot of hope in that, but I do think within 2 weeks, I think if it's not solved within 2 weeks, then, in my opinion, if it's not solved within 2 weeks, then I will switch to maybe Nanos is actually, this is way deeper than I thought with him. Someone said back door was unlocked. But see, there's no way of anybody to know that. The back door was unlocked when the family arrived Sunday at noon or whatever to check on her. That doesn't mean the back door was unlocked when whoever was there. Now, I'll say this. If during initial reporting, if a family member said, well, the back door was unlocked, then what would that tell you? They were there. That's happened before. That's why when you arrive on any kind of serious scene, like someone's life's been taken, something like this, you listen very closely to what the family members and friends that are there are saying. I've gone back and watched body camera for hours on scenes and caught one little slip up that a family member said that nobody else caught at the time because there's so much going on. And it broke the case. Because we're human. We slip up. Yeah, we just played the video on from Megyn Kelly on the Google searches of the address and pictures of her home, and then Savannah's salary. Hey, Christina, how are you? Surprised when a neighbor said they didn't lock their doors. Felt safe being in that. Yeah, I don't doubt that. When my grandparents were alive, their front door was never locked ever. If they were home, never. And my grandpa was living until 2017, and again, that front door was never locked. They feel safe, as they should, but in today's time, you can't take that chance, no matter how safe you feel. I think it had to be someone who knew her phone synced to the pacemaker to leave it behind. Oh, no, you wouldn't take her phone. I wish if they would have, she'd have been found that day. I mean, they would have been able to trace her phone down to 5-10 meters with a 2-minute phone call to the phone company. I don't think it'll be a cold case. I think you were racing lover. I like that. I appreciate that. How do you message me? You should be able to send a Facebook message. There you go, Amanda. Yeah, I agree, Sweater Weather. I think there are too many resources for it to go cold. Again, half the FBI is working on this, literally. What is the motive? Honestly, your guess is as good as mine. At this point, I have no idea. I wish I had a better answer, but I don't. Oh, they've made mistakes. They always make mistakes. No, not that we know of. Brittany, she asked, did Nancy have any previous problems with robberies or anything? No. From my understanding, that her entire neighborhood is very safe. Thoughts on TMZ involvement? At this point, I think it's complete BS. And yeah, I mean, obviously, I could be wrong. The TMZ thing makes absolutely no sense. And the way he's been publicizing it, the way he has, I don't trust it. I just don't. Oh, somebody asked about if we'd spoken about the family member relationships. I'm guessing you're talking about what we're talking about the other night with Kayla and Luke. Yeah, whoever said they confirmed that Kayla is Nancy's niece, I do not think that's true at all. I mean, I dug and dug. I could find absolutely no connection. I think it's very possibly a publicity stunt from TMZ at this point. Now, I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm not saying that's a fact. I'm just saying it. Or let me say it this way. It would not surprise me if we find that out. And if we do find that out, then he better go to the prison. Seriously. And I think he will, if that turns out to be true. Ransom notes, are there, so the question is, are there always this many ransom notes sent out without the perpetrator acting? Ransom notes to be sent to a, like TMZ, like a random, like, that's a first. In a true kidnapping for ransom, you're going to make sure the ransom note gets in the hands of the family immediately, however that may be. So if they would have sent it to NBC, I could buy that. That would make a little sense here, considering Savannah works for NBC. But TMZ, that's a first. Anything like that. And waiting almost 2 days after they took her to send a ransom letter, that's never been done either. In any kidnapping for ransom in the United States, any legit one that's ever happened, they've never waited 2 days to send a ransom. Because again, you're trying to keep someone alive, especially an 84-year-old with very serious health problems. You're going to want to get this situation over as quickly as possible. So, like, what are you doing for 2 days while you're watching this woman? You're sitting there twiddling your thumbs? That doesn't make sense. Again, this was never a kidnapping for ransom. Ever. Now, if the people involved did send the ransom notes, or at least one of them, then that was just to try to take the heat off of what actually happened. Yeah, Amber. No, the guy's whoever the front porch guy. Again, not any type of career criminal by any means. Not someone that hardly ever, if ever, carries a firearm. Doesn't understand the tactics behind it or anything like that. And I heard someone on a podcast or show a couple days ago said what makes the most sense about that firearm. That whoever he is, he put that there as a intimidation thing. So, and that does make all the sense in the world. Meaning, they don't really know how to use it, and even if it may not even been a real firearm. But they walk in and approach Nancy, and she just sees that. They don't even have to pull it because it's right there, and she's going to see it, and that's going to make her do whatever they tell her to do, probably. That's the most logical thing that makes sense about the weapon. It was not somebody that was planning on using it. That's for sure. Thoughts on Epstein related? No, not a chance. Again, it wouldn't make sense. I mean, it definitely could turn out to be someone obsessed with Savannah. I could see that. No, I do not believe that Kayla is Nancy's niece. Again, I dug for 2 days. I could find absolutely no connection between Kayla and Nancy, which is frustrating because someone on here the other night said they verified that she was her niece. That's frustrating. Why would you say that when you know you haven't? And that's why I'm so careful about just pulling things up, because I pulled up one picture when a bunch of people were talking about it, and then it was the wrong picture or something, and then I decided, I'm not going to do this right now because I want to verify stuff. But they were so sure of themselves, and it's frustrating. You make a good point, Tracy. Tracy said you would think if they were obsessed with Savannah, they would have been communicating with her since the abduction. That is a good point. The gloves, someone stated the gloves are same style worn by restaurant workers at a restaurant. Family said those gloves are regularly worn by a lot of people. I've got over 2 cases, like 12 boxes of those almost exactly the same gloves sitting in my weapon cleaning room right now. This is the ones, that's what I wear when I'm working on firearms and cleaning them and working on them and building them. So, I mean, you can't make that, that's a stretch. Could turn out to be the case, but it's a pretty common glove. Why do you think the reward? I don't think the reward has been raised by the family. Unless you meant to say hasn't. I mean, there's no need for them to raise it. I mean, it's up to $200,000 now. If somebody's going to talk, they'll talk for $200,000. Like for someone that's not involved but knows who's involved, it doesn't matter if it's 2 million, it doesn't matter if it's 20 million or 200,000. They're going to talk. At some point, and more than likely sooner than later. And the people, the other ones sending the stuff to TMZ saying that they know, but they just need a Bitcoin or whatever. No, they don't. Because they originally asked for $65,000. They asked for 1 Bitcoin, which was like valued around $65,000. Again, right after that, the ransomware was raised to $100,000, and now it's at $200,000. So, if they were only asking for 60-something thousand, then if they truly had information, they would have told it and have their $200,000. And you never, I've seen people make this comment, and sometimes I understand a lot of times I get frustrated because people that's never done any work in this area is just so clueless, some of them. And then I have to stop myself because it makes sense. There's things that they know that I don't have a clue about. It's just the way it is. But it gets so frustrating to me when I see comments of, why wouldn't they just pay the $6 million? Do you want to pay $6 million just for the hell? Like, no, you don't do that. You never ever pay the money without getting the information first and confirming the information. Ever, under no circumstance. Under no circumstance. Number one, if you do it before they show proof of life, you think they're going to keep them alive? No. So even if they are still alive then, and you just send them the money without anything, you're never going to hear from them again. Nor are you going to hear from whoever they took. You don't do that ever. Like, to me, it's like, how could you not understand that? But again, I understand that some people don't think the same, but it just drives me insane sometimes. And Crime Stoppers, which is the $200,000 is through Crime Stoppers now. It is completely anonymous. I've worked with Crime Stoppers numerous times when I was in investigations. And Crime Stoppers does not tell law enforcement who the source is under no circumstance. I mean, that is as legit as it can be. They do not tell. It stays 100% anonymous. And then if the information turns out to be confirmed, they pay them. Exactly, Psychic Rider. If you just paid, if they had just paid it, like you just said, or she, I don't know if it's he or she, I'm sorry. It would encourage more kidnappings. I mean, 100%. Absolutely. Trust me, if that would have happened, there would be a lot of idiot meth heads going and kidnapping people, or attempted to. No, Crime Stoppers cannot tell the source. There's no subpoena, no judge can order it, nothing. Like it again, it's legit. The way their system is set up, no one knows the source of the information as far as the name. And it, when I say it is literally impossible to get the name. Trust me, I've tried before. We tried everything, and it will not happen. It can't happen. Yeah, why were they in the house that long? Again, inexperienced. It's the only conclusion I can come from. That's a long time to be in the middle of a crime. A long time. Things did not go as planned. Thoughts on Clinton involvement? Absolutely not. Again, absolutely no. That would make no sense. No motive. No sense whatsoever. No. Eric's right. Or they were searching for something. That could definitely be true. Yeah, Tracy, that's what I was talking about. The person that claimed they know who did it and wanted the single Bitcoin. But again, they don't know who did it. If they did, they would have told now that the reward is $200,000. My only thing with the gym theory, why take her? Sam, this has nothing to do with the cartel. I mean, unintended witness, why not just take her life there? That's way easier than taking her with you. Way easier. You heard what happened in Pickinsville, Alabama? I have, and I don't think I can comment on it. Unfortunately. I may be able to, but I got to confirm first before I can. What makes this lady any different than anyone else taken? I mean, a lot. This doesn't happen. And again, as I've said, I'm not saying it's right, not saying I agree with it, but it's a fact of life. Someone wealthy or famous is going to get more attention, and that there's no way to stop that. That's a perk to being wealthy and famous. I mean, again, I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm not saying I like it or anything. That is how the world. That is the world. I mean, again, it's a perk to being famous, and also, do I think this would have happened to Nancy if her daughter wasn't who she was? No. I think it had something to do with it. Because, again, I don't believe in coincidence, and that would be one hell of a coincidence that her daughter is famous and worth $50 million. Didn't understand your question. Okay, hold on. What makes this lady any different than anyone else taken that Trump makes statement for death penalty? What makes her different than these kids? I mean, I thought I answered your question. The one thing that makes her different than, and I don't know what kids you're talking about, but whoever is what has happened is, I mean, this just doesn't happen in the United States. It's extremely rare. And two, her daughter is wealthy and famous. That's what makes her different. I mean, put it this way. If John Doe's kid doesn't get off the school bus tomorrow at home like he's supposed to, and John realizes this and calls the police, what are the police going to be thinking and be looking into from the very beginning of that? Okay, he either accidentally was asleep on the bus or stayed on the bus, or he got on the wrong bus. It's going to be some kind of, because more than likely it's going to be some kind of just a mistake that happened somewhere, and they're going to, and they'll find him in an hour or two. And more than likely that's what will happen. What if J.D. Vance's son doesn't get off the school bus like he's supposed to? Are we going to think that's what happened? Hell no. Because more than likely it's not what happened. More than likely somebody took him. So that's, you understand the difference? Did that make sense? I mean, is there a big kidnapping case going on with a kid that I don't know about? Y'all are acting like kidnappings happen all the time, even with kids. It doesn't. It's extremely rare. Now, a kid being taken is more common than an adult, for sure. But again, it's still extremely rare. Like as far as, let me phrase it like this. Someone breaking into your house in the middle of the night and snatching your kid is almost as rare as this. I think people think those things happen way more often than they do. They don't. I think you see the Facebook post and TV and you think strangers are just out everywhere snatching up kids. That does not happen. Now, let me make sure I'm clear. It happens, but it's extremely rare. Most of the time, when a kid is taken, it's by a close family member or friend. But just someone breaking into someone's house in the middle of the night and snatching your kid, if that happens, it will have just as much coverage as this. Trust me, it will. That's just not something that happens every day. Danny, what? It's Savannah, Annie, and Tommaso's fault. They brought it up on themselves. Don't come in my comments saying something like that unless you have actual facts to back that up, because that aggravates me. That's victim blaming, and I fucking hate victim blaming. If anyone's new here, ask the people who's been following me. I can't stand victim blaming. Just because a woman wears a short skirt doesn't mean she deserved to get raped by a man, okay? Same thing here. I do not like victim blaming. In fact, I don't know if you realize, I hate victim blaming. I'll see if I can find your comment. I don't see another comment from you. And I've gone. Yeah, I don't see another comment from you, so I'm very confused now. Does anyone else see Danny's Lakers Let's Go comment? I mean, other than the one that said it's Savannah and Annie and Tommaso's fault. Oh, I'm on YouTube. Talk about YouTube, by the way. Yeah, I don't see another comment from you. But when you word it like that, it's Savannah, Annie, Tommaso's fault. They brought it up on themselves. I'm very confused of how someone could bring it upon themselves to have their family member kidnapped. But I do not like victim blaming. We have way too much of that in this world. It drives me insane. And I would challenge anyone to explain how a family could bring it upon themselves to have their family member kidnapped. Like, I can't think of any way that could ever be possible. They have top-notch, as far you're talking about the dogs, they had dogs out there around the immediate property. Other than that, they have top-notch tech on drones and helos that they've been flying around all over that gets way more area than a dog that could pick up her if she's out there because of her pacemaker. News National put out report February 3rd. There are 26,000 active missing persons cases. Yet this is not a missing person. There's a big difference in a missing person and this. Big difference. And I think that's where people are getting confused when they're in their minds. This happens all the time. I think they're just thinking of missing persons. Big difference. In a missing persons investigation, you have no evidence of foul play. Meaning they could have just left. They could have just went off. Or they could have wandered off. And whether that's children, adults, whatever. An abduction means you have factual evidence of foul play. And that is, again, happens so rarely in this country. And if it does happen, you're going to see it all over the news. Now, again, is every one of them going to get this much coverage? No. But I've explained why this gets this much coverage. If you want this much coverage, if something happens to your family, go get wealthy or famous. I mean, there's no other way to put. I'm not trying to be a smart ass. I'm just, again, it's just a fact of life that we have to accept. It's just a fact of life. Yes, the Bluetooth detection are still being used. Do I think the intent was to take her life, but they panicked and now they are stuck? No. Again, that's something that I know of has never happened. That's with people saying this was possibly a burglary gone wrong. To my knowledge, literally not one case of that has ever happened in the United States of someone going to commit a burglary, and in the middle of their burglary they decide to take an adult with them and kidnap it. It doesn't happen. Like literally, it does not happen. Not in the United States. Again, I think a lot of people think these things happen so much more often just because of TV, of the movies. They don't. No, the agency can't handle this investigation. Again, no local agency would have experience at this type of investigation because, again, it doesn't happen. And that's not downing any local agency. But the FBI has people that literally specialize in it, that that negotiate these things in other countries all the time. And that any that has happened in the United States, they have worked those exact cases. That's it. That's why they're the experts in this. And to not turn the case completely over to them is impeding the case. Because the sheriff doesn't like the FBI, and the sheriff only cares about himself. You live next to Flitsy. That's a beautiful area over there. I like it over there. The sheriff can't be removed. Oh yeah, that's a beautiful area. The sheriff can't be removed like by the feds. I don't know what the process in Arizona to remove a sheriff is. But as far as from the case, yes, the FBI could technically take it over, but without his cooperation, it would make the investigation even worse. And the FBI is actually trying to solve the case and try to find Nancy versus being in a piss battle with this idiot. Yeah, Rhonda. Unfortunately, I think they know what happened to the little girl. Again, that's a different, like, this is at this point a complete mystery. Most cases are not a complete mystery. Like, a lot of cases are law enforcement knows who did it, knows who is involved. They're just working to try to prove that. Versus this is nobody knows anything. He only won by a little over 400 votes in a population of over 1 million people. 400. That's crazy. Well, I wouldn't have made the mistakes he's made because I would have immediately turned it over to the FBI. He wants to be on TV, and that's becoming, and a lot of people are saying that now and coming to that realization, as I have too. He's trying to get as much publicity out of this as possible. He likes being on TV. And again, he doesn't care who he hurts in the process. He doesn't care that one of his citizens has been taken. He doesn't care. To collect what kind of debt? I mean, an 84-year-old owing a debt that would get her kidnapped. I don't buy that. No, Ashley is exactly correct. And that's what I was saying earlier. Narcissists like this, he doesn't realize he's being an idiot. He doesn't realize everybody's laughing at him. In his mind, this is all going great. I'm telling you, that's how they, in their mind, they are making all the right decisions and they know all the right answers and they're doing everything exactly like it should be done. They're sick. They don't realize everyone else is calling them an idiot and seeing how ridiculous they are and laughing at them. I mean, it should be. I don't know. I don't know the governor of Arizona. I don't know what kind of person they are. But they should have stepped in to try to convince him publicly, if it took it, to turn it over to the FBI. That's what should be happening. The governor of that state should go to him or make a call and say, hey, turn this over to the FBI. And then if he says no, say, okay. And then they go public and start pointing out all the mistakes he's made and put enough pressure on him to finally turn it over to the FBI. That's what should be happening. Hey, thank you, Ashley. Appreciate that. And like I said, no doubt in my mind, if he would have handed this over to the FBI when they first stepped in, we would be a lot further along in this investigation. I believe there would be a really good chance there would be people at least in jail and hopefully Nancy be found. Now, do I have my doubts she lived after that night? Honestly, I don't think she did. It would be hard for me to believe she did. So, would it have saved her life? At this point, I couldn't put much confidence in that, but definitely a chance. But at least having this solved, I think we would probably be there by now. I'm telling you, like, if you've ever worked on any type of investigation, especially a big one like this, having no cooperation from an agency head it makes everything so much harder. It complicates everything. Very difficult. No, I'm not saying the governor has power over the sheriff, because they probably don't. I'm saying they could put enough political pressure on him. I appreciate that, Bobby. About the gifts, I think you should. If you don't deny it, then by Friday, they will have them on YouTube. I appreciate your thinking about that. I got started on YouTube late. I put my first video out on this in the end of July of 25 on TikTok, and then my TikTok blew up. And then a couple months after that, I started posting on Facebook, and then it blew up. And I hadn't been posting really much on YouTube until I started my actual podcast, and that's only been 4 months, maybe about 4 months. So it's just now starting to grow. Nanos told Brian he could argue every wrong move on the list. Brian gave him the chance, and he declined. Exactly. My content mainly focuses on corrupt officials and missing persons. Well, corrupt officials and missing persons cases is how it began. And also I've gotten into child predator stuff a lot too, and I'm going to be getting more into that and deeper into that as well. Thank you, Addison. Would the cartel get involved in something like this? Lots of other wealthy people to go after. The cartel, again, the cartel would have nothing to do with this. For one, there's absolutely nothing that would indicate the cartel on this. The way this is handled, as bad as it sounds, or as bad as I hate to say it, the cartel is good at this. But the main thing with the cartel, they don't like publicity in the United States. The last thing they would be involved in right now is something like this, because we've literally declared war on them this last year. Like, literally, we're blowing them up, which we should have been doing 20 years ago. So they would not do anything to bring more heat on them right now. Absolutely not. Like, if the cartel did something like this, that would give Trump so much more ammo to just really go in and just take them all out. And that's what he wants to do. And I hope he does. I hope we do. That's what needs to be done. It should have been done, again, a long time ago. But yeah, they don't want anything to, they would not be doing anything like this. And Ashley is exactly correct. They're quick and messy. They don't go and gently break into a back window. Literally, they will go and kick in the front, bust down the front door, full force, grab, snatch, and go. This is literally how they do it. Nothing like this. And again, right now, they're trying to lay low. What do you mean where the family is hands on? I mean, there's absolutely nothing the family could be doing right now. I mean, if the family tried doing anything, it would just impede things. There's nothing the family could be doing right now in this kind of case. I don't think we as Americans understand that. If you're talking about the cartel, no, people are ignorant to what's going on. Now, the cartel is responsible, well, the cartel in China is responsible for taking more American lives than all other terrorist groups, wars, world wars, all put together. And the American people say drugs are a victimless crime. Dumbest thing you'll ever say. I would not suggest saying it on my comments because it does not make me happy when people make an ignorant comment like that. Drugs have harmed more people than any other crime ever. Drugs have taken down more families and ruined more families than any other crime ever in the history of crimes. Every day. I've never understood how people say they're a victimless crime. Like what? I did watch the Alabama Solution. I made a whole podcast on it. Go check it out. For sure. A search party. Again, this is not, you're talking about a missing person. This is not a missing person. Where you going to search? Somebody took her. She's not lost in the desert. Brittany, I haven't, but someone, it was mentioned earlier in the live, and I'm definitely going to check it out. I did not know it existed. She's asking about the Pima County Sheriff's Office TV series that you were talking about earlier. The only way we could shut cartels down is if we literally take over Mexico, which we should. We should absolutely go take over Mexico. But as was stated a while ago, Americans don't understand. They don't get it. But we should do exactly what we just did to Venezuela. And there's people with a problem about that. Blows my mind. You know absolutely nothing about the real world outside of the United States if you had any issue with what we did in Venezuela. Go ask the Venezuelans. Go ask them. And we had people protesting on the streets here against that. And literally the greatest thing that's ever happened to the Venezuelans. Go ask them. They've all just been released from prison because they've all been stuck in a horrible prison, in a horrible socialist prison. And New York's getting close to that now. New York's new mayor is now having to take a bunch of the retirement funds to cover all of his things. They voted for it. Jesus Christ. I don't know. I disagree with you, Z Girl's mama. No. Most men that SA children are not on meth. No. That drugs do not cause someone to do something to a child. No drugs do. That's a disease. That person is sick and cannot be healed and cannot be fixed. It has nothing to do with drugs. But no, most child predators are not on meth. If they're a child predator while they're on meth, they were a child predator before, trust me. They were doing it before they were on drugs. Okay, that's different. Z Girl's mama. The ones trafficking their children, yes, I agree with you. Absolutely. They're not the ones actually doing the things to the children. They sell their children. But yes, you are absolutely correct on human trafficking. Yes, a very big percentage are on meth. I have a Venezuelan friend who became a citizen recently. He has lots of family in Venezuela and says they are so happy with Trump and what he did. Yeah, no, I mean, that's, again, now, being in the drug world, I've been very familiar with Venezuela for a long time. And what's going on there and the thing, and what that president was involved in. He's an evil man. But I'm going to say this one last thing, and then I got to go. Dead serious. And if you disagree with me, you're clueless. And I probably can't say his name on here. You know, the guy that once ruled Germany, and was responsible for taking tons of people's lives. You know, one of the most evil men that's ever lived. I think you all know who I'm talking about. If he were alive today and doing that, and Donald Trump was responsible for taking him down, for us going and taking him, there would be people, understand this, there would be people in the United States protesting against that. Think about that. Now, I'm not saying you have to love Trump. I'm not saying you should. But when you can't even recognize when someone does a good thing, you need to rethink your stances on things. You need to rethink how you think because you're not thinking for yourself, and that's very scary. But I'm dead serious. Like, think about that. That would 100% factually happen. It's crazy. Very crazy. All right. Hey, I appreciate each and every one of you being on here. I've enjoyed the conversations. And again, I welcome people that have different views than me and disagree with me and have conversations about them. Legit. I love having, I don't want to be followed and surrounded by a bunch of people that think just like me. I won't learn anything. So whether, it doesn't matter if we're part of different political parties or none of that matters. I welcome you as a follower on my pages, as a subscriber, whatever you want to call it, and to comment and us have awesome conversations. As long as you don't resort to name calling and we can have an actual conversation about it, I love it. I enjoy it. It's one of the, I love having those conversations because, again, I always learn something. But I don't block people because they disagree with me. I don't kick them off because I welcome those as long as we can have adult conversations about it. But I appreciate it, all of you on here. If you're not following me or subscribing, please do that. You can always catch my lives Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday nights, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Central. I have a full podcast that you can catch anywhere you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and they're also on YouTube and Rumble. So make sure you go check those out. And we have a Patreon that we're about to get out, and I'll put all that information out then, and it'll have a lot of videos. The subscription side of it will have a lot of videos that I do on how to protect yourself, self-protection, preparedness, all those kind of things. A lot of interesting things, and some videos about my personal life growing up. I was born into a horrible situation, and I was heavily abused when I was a very small child. Luckily, my dad went to prison when I was 8 and spent the next 20-something years in there. I think he's back in prison now. I don't know. I don't have anything to do with him. But anyway, my childhood up until then was very crazy. Some really crazy stories. And I'm going to be doing some videos on those and just talking about those stories. But I think it'll be very interesting to a lot of people. Other than that, I hope y'all have a great rest of your Wednesday night, and I'll see y'all back Friday. And again, make sure you go check out my video I did today. You can find it on YouTube and TikTok. Welcome back to Truth or Recon. I'm Agent D. Baker, a retired narcotics detective, SWAT team member, and U.S. Navy combat veteran of OEF and OIF. With years of real-world experience in high-stakes environments, I have seen firsthand the dangers that lurk both in our communities and now increasingly online. These conversations can get raw, they can get heavy, and sometimes they may not be suitable for children, so consider this your disclaimer. But if you care about truth, justice, and accountability, then you're in the right